Hey TechKnowSurge! Whether you're talking about your keyboard and pressing a character on your keyboard and that converting into bits, or maybe you're talking about graphics and representing bits as graphics, or maybe you're talking about transferring data, all of that requires processing. Let's take a look at the CPU and how it processes bits. Your CPU has some sort of timer to it. There is a timer and it processes things within that timer. And it's measured in hertz, cycles every second. So this timing happens in cycles per second. And what will happen is data will be lined up to be processed to go into this chip, and they'll go through several different processes, several different cycles to get all computed, and then it will exit this chip. But essentially we have these bits, these ones and zeros going into the CPU, and then we have some sort of answer coming out of that CPU. So one of the aspects of your CPU is how many bits is being processed at any given time. And there are 32-bit systems and 64, well, really most of our computers and most of the consoles nowadays are all 64-bit systems. So that means that there's 64 pathways, lines going into this CPU with ones and zeros all lined up to be processed. So whatever information needs to be processed in there goes into the CPU, gets processed, and then there's 64 lines coming out of that. This is something that we improve over time. So here we have the Nintendo Entertainment System in 1983, which was an 8-bit. In 1989, we get a 16-bit system. In 1994, 32-bit system. In 1996, a 64-bit system. And like I say, most gaming consoles nowadays and most computers nowadays are 64-bit. So let's take a look at what this looks like on an actual machine. Here I'm on my demo laptop here, and I'm going to click the Windows button and type in about your PC and then hit enter. And it's going to pop up here, and there's the information that we just looked at. Here we see this is operating at a 2.8 gigahertz. So that's billion cycles every second. So that's the clock rate of the CPU and how fast it can do its processes. Now it's not accepting those bits every single cycle. It'll accept the next round of bits in, do the processing, and then send it out the other side. But that gives you an idea. That's one of the measurements we use when it comes to the CPU. And then the other one is this 64-bit. So we've got a 64-bit based processor. So this is accepting 64 bits at any given time to be processed and then outputting 64 bits. There are other measurements that we use to measure the quality of a CPU, but we're not going to get in depth into that now. This is just to show you how it processes those bits and those lines coming into it, how much it's processing at any given time.